And away we go. It is our Sacramento Modern Quilt Guild retreat currently. That's where I am working on this project. So I wanted to get my intro recorded in advance. We're having our second annual, because we had our first Quilt Guild retreat last November. And so now we are whisking away to Tahoe for another guild retreat. And one of my projects is going to be this quilt for my friend's husband. I guess he's my friend too. Luke's a pretty cool guy, and I've always wanted to make him something. I made him a wedding quilt when him and Amy got married, but I don't know, he's pretty cool. I figured he deserves one for himself. So we had this line come into the shop. It's called the Whispering Pines from Northcott. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is Luke. That's kind of what inspired me to make this quilt for him. And so I bought a panel and a couple of the coordinates, but I didn't know quite what I was going to do with it at that point. Like, I picked up a fat quarter here, a fat quarter there. I think I even showed way back when where I spilled something on a fat quarter and had to wash it in my sink. So I picked my pattern. So now I've got a few pieces of fabric, and then we're gonna go shopping for some more fabric, and then we're gonna get working on this at the retreat. So I'm gonna use the Spotlight pattern. Let's see. So it's got two versions of it. This one is just the single border, the baby quilt version. I'm gonna do this version, the double border, the throw size version. So I've got the super cool panel for here and a couple of the coordinates to go in there. And then I've got to figure out all this extra. So I've got this here, and then I need these theme pieces to go in here. And then these ones are different fat eighths. So I have fat quarters because that's what we cut at the shop. And then I need my borders. I think I'm gonna do some grunge and mix some other coordinates in here with the fabric line. So let me show you what fabric I have so far, and then we'll go shopping and get the rest of it. So here are my three fat quarters I have currently. This one's got the trees on it, probably more like the birch trees. This one's got some pine tree outlines, and then this one's kind of got some branches. We had this line in at the beginning of the year, and so I was afraid of pieces running out, so when we'd get close to end of bolts, I'd buy what was there. And then we just got the line back in, which is good because I need to get some more. Okay, and I don't know if I'll be able to do this panel as much justice as it deserves, so I'll give you a little peek of it, and then as it gets worked on, you'll see more of it. So let me make sure it's right side up. So it's got this watercolory elk, and then it's got this eagle up top, and these super cool mountains that they're just standing on, and like waterfall. I thought it was just so cool looking. So many people have been like, oh, it reminds me of Colorado. Oh, it reminds me of Michigan and different places. And I was like, it reminds me of Alaska. So that's our panel. And then we're gonna find some coordinates and some grunge and some blenders to tie it all together. And I can already tell you now, this is gonna have a minky backing. I haven't decided if it's gonna be a smooth minky backing or if I'm gonna feel super cool and try to do a more furry backing. The finished size is 54 by 71, so it's a good lap size. I think he's a bigger guy. He's about my height. So I think this would be good. They've got a camper. They've got a boat. I don't know if I would take a quilt on a boat. I don't know. But then he'll be able to take this and call it his and don't have to share it. Okay, so today's Saturday, and I should have been filming this from South Lake Tahoe, but if you're unfamiliar with the state of California, Nevada right now, it is on fire. And unfortunately, the roads are still closed to get to where we're staying, so our retreat has been canceled. But it's being postponed until April, so I will come to you from South Lake Tahoe in April, should I still be doing these kind of projects. But anyways, I got the rest of my fabric pulled today for this Whispering Pines quilt for my friend's husband, and so I'll show you that, and then we'll get down to cutting. Everything fit, not actually using that fabric. Everything fit in this little pouch so I could take it to work with me and do my fabric shopping. So here is our fabric that we had before, plus a piece of grunge that I don't know if I'm going to use. It's black grunge. I don't know if I'm going to use it. But here's our pattern. So it's the Spotlight quilt. So I'm doing this version, the slightly bigger one. It ends up being 54 by 71. So about 2 feet. I think it'll be a good size for Luke. So I got this little bit to go in the square part. I got this. This is the continuous panel from Whispering Pines. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to strategically cut it. So then on these parts, so we've got one piece here, one piece here, one piece here, and one piece down here. So that because it's a continuous panel, it's like a trees going into dark. I'm gonna have the sky up here and then start to get darker, and then the darkest part down here on the bottom. So I think that'll be super cool if my brain can function cutting it correctly. So if I did my math right, and my coworker helped me do my math right, or double check my math, then we'll be good. So that's this guy. So there's the top half. So then we'd have a little bit of the sky, some of that, and then here's the bottom half. So I think it's gonna, if it all comes out like it is in my brain, I think it'll be really cool. Here's what's gonna be my outside border, so the darkest outer border. And then this brown grunge is going to be my my two skinny borders. So I've got a skinny border that's between the panel and this section, and another skinny one that's in here. So those are what's gonna be the brown grunge. I was thinking black, but then looking at the panel itself and all that, black was just not the right fit. So we're gonna make brown work. And so now that we've got everything, I'm gonna get cutting. My panel's cut to size. I've got my skinny border, my outer border, my accent pieces, and my little square strips all cut. So now what I'm gonna do is shuffle these around, make sets of them, and get sewing those rows together. Now we've got all our square sets. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shuffle them around and make 3 different size segments. So I've got to make 2 squares, 2 medium rectangles, 2 medium rectangles, and 2 longer rectangles to piece with those continuous panels. So that's what'll be up next. So now I've got all my square sets sewn. That was really hard to say. And so the next part is connecting them to my accent pieces, like I said. So because these were fussy cut in a way, I'm gonna make sure that I get my right piece on my right side and all that. Because I've got my top piece that's the lightest, my bottom piece that's the darkest. Gotta make sure my trees are going the right direction. Because in this one, like you can see the little trees there. So I've got to make sure those are right side up. This one's kind of hard to see which way the trees go. And then my side pieces that I keep losing, I got to make sure one of them is lighter on, yes, so this one is the lighter one. This one's the darker one because it's got more dark at the bottom to make sure they're in the right places. So I'm going to get that all situated and go from there. What I just did by accident is I sewed on this top row that one's fine. I sewed the 10 set here because that's what I thought I was supposed to do because it was a smaller piece instead of the 9 set, and on my side strips I sewed my 9 set instead of my 10 set. So what I'm gonna do is instead of unpicking and re-sewing the whole thing, I'm just gonna take the last set off of here on the top and the bottom and then sew those onto the sides so I don't have to seam rip. I started to seam rip and I was like, there's a smarter way to do this mistake. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna seam rip and then I'm gonna come back and put the borders on correctly. So the next time you see this, we'll be putting borders on, but know that that lovely little mistake is what happened. So I've got the fancy borders on. Now it's just going to be putting another skinny brown border on the outside and then the whitest border on the very outside, and then this is gonna be all done. So that's what you're gonna see up next. quilt top is all done, ready to be quilted. I don't know why I was putting it off so long. It was a lot easier than it looks. Since these are all strip pieced, that went together super quick, and then it was just border after border after border. And I think the continuous panel effect looks really cool. I thought I was a little worried at first with this one being so light up here at the top, but I'm really happy with it.